Ready to add lots of color to your cakes? In this tutorial, I'm going to show you 8 colorful cake decorating techniques that are fun, eye-catching, and surprisingly easy to do. First up is a sparkly homemade stencil design. Write a message or number on a piece of parchment or wax paper and cut it out, poking the scissors into each letter and cutting around so that the rest of the paper is left intact. Wrap this stencil around a cake after the cake has been in the fridge for at least an hour to chill, so that the frosting is firm. With another strip of parchment to cover up the bottom of your cake if your stencil doesn't go down far enough to protect the frosting from jumping sparkles later. Then spread buttercream over the stencil. You can use the same color or something different, and then press edible glitter or colorful sanding sugar onto the buttercream on the stencil so that it sticks. Peel the stencil off and you'll have a sparkly, colorful message left on your cake. Watercolor frosting is probably the quickest way to add lots of color to your cakes. Spread a few colors of frosting around the cake randomly, choosing colors that mix nicely because these will blend together. Scrape around the cake a few times to smooth these colors over the cake, and then spread any of the frosting you scraped off back onto the cake to fill in any gaps. The more times you scrape around the cake, the more the colors will blend together. Watercolor cakes are striking just like this, but to take them to the next level, you can carve the buttercream to show off the color or colors underneath. And I teach this technique in my free course on 10 frosting techniques. The link for the course is in the top of the screen and in the video description, or go to britishgirlbakes.com. Instead of blending colors together, create buttercream stripes using any 2 colors you like with this technique. Spread the first color all over your cake, and use a striped cake comb to imprint stripe grooves into the frosting, using this just like you'd use a regular cake scraper. Pressing down on the cake board to line it up straight for each scrape. Put the cake into the fridge for 30 minutes or the freezer for 15 minutes to set this first color, and then spread or pipe the next color into the grooves. Scrape around the cake, and don't worry, the first color is cold and firm so you won't damage it. But you will smear the second color all over the cake, and that's fine. Just keep scraping again and again with a straight-edged cake comb or icing scraper or frosting smoother to take off all of that excess color, and eventually you'll be left with perfectly neat, colorful stripes on your cake. A checkerboard cake is a really fun way to add color to the inside of your cake, using 2 flavors or 2 different colors. This is my very vanilla cake recipe, which is the perfect size for a checkerboard pattern baked in 4 6-inch pans.
But first, we need to make sure that the cakes are the right height by using a serrated knife.
Trim off any domes, and you can trim off the bottom if you want to take off the darker colored edge. The cake layers should be as tall as they're going to be wide. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Use cookie cutters 2 inches apart in size. These are 2 and 4 inches, and the cake is 6 inches wide. So when you cut the cake with the cutters, you'll make 3 rings of cake that are 2, 4, and 6 inches wide. Now alternate the colorful rings to assemble your cake. So the colors change with each ring, but also alternate as you go up the cake. So pink is on top of white, and white is on top of pink, or whatever colors you're using. This tall 6-inch cake will serve 12 to 20 people depending on how you slice it. Look at this gorgeous colorful checkerboard pattern. If you enjoy piping or want to practice, a vintage cake is a great option for lots of color. Choose a color scheme or go for a full rainbow, using as many piping tips as you have, and then play around, layering different shapes and textures and colors, and having lots of fun. I have a very detailed tutorial on this style, and the link is in the top of the screen. A much quicker way to add lots of color to your frosting is to pour multicolored sprinkles into your frosting before you use it. Set aside a few spoonfuls first, without sprinkles, and then spread the sprinkled frosting onto your cake as normal. And when you smooth it, don't worry about any trails left in the frosting by sprinkles dragging around with your cake comb. Just use the plain buttercream you set aside to spread over those trails, and then scrape again and again until it's all smooth. The sprinkles look really bright and fun embedded in the frosting like this. One more idea for sprinkles, and this one is perfect for birthdays. Start with chocolate chips and melt them in the microwave at 50% power for 30 seconds at a time, stirring between each interval until the chocolate is smooth. Spoon it into a Ziploc bag, squeeze it into one corner, and snip off the tip. Level your sprinkles on a plate and pipe your letter or number directly onto them, but in mirror image, since you're looking at the back right now. Start with a thin outline, and then trace over it to build up the shape so it's thick enough to hold together. While the chocolate is still melted, press a toothpick into the bottom so it will be easy to attach to the cake later. Leave it to set for an hour at room temperature, or chill it in the fridge or freezer for 15 to 30 minutes. Once it's firm, lift it up, and you've got a sprinkled covered chocolate topper ready to push into your cake. Ta-da! Homemade stencils are so easy to make and so versatile. It's easy to add lots of colours by tinting a few small amounts of buttercream. I like to do this in a cupcake pan for quick cleanup instead of lots of little bowls. And then just spread 2 or 3 colours over each stencil and scrape over the stencil a few times to blend the colours and to take off the excess, to leave a thin, smooth layer of colourful buttercream behind when you peel off the stencil. Tell me in the comments which colourful cake decorating techniques were your favourite and ask me any questions you have. And visit my cake school on britishgirlbakes.com to take my free course, or choose any other course or membership to learn hundreds more cake decorating techniques and designs. See you there!